welcome back.
What's going on, everyone?
Today we're doing something a little bit different.
We're doing a quick review of the last episode of the last season of one of our new favorite shows. We say new, but we've been watching it since last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, fire show. If you haven't watched it, definitely go check it out.
So it's kind of like a horror mystery all mixed in together.
Right. If you've seen Lost, it's kind of like that, but better. Way better than Lost, I feel like.
I've never seen Lost, so I can't compare it to anything. But these people are basically stuck in a town, and it's kind of like supernatural in a way.
Kind of. It definitely is supernatural in a way.
So the last episode, we were told that it revealed a lot, and it did.
Right.
So next season is very much anticipated because we want to see what happens next. But we're kind of going to go through what happened and maybe interpret some things and give our ideas. And we made a bet for the end of the episode, and we're going to talk about the bet and why it came to be. But we're going to play some clips, and then we're going to go through it and kind of summarize, sort of.
Sure, yeah.
All right, let's get into it.
What are you going to do? Just go.
Okay. So this wasn't super important. This is Boyd getting some torture devices.
Not even close yet.
That's later.
Yeah.
Okay. So they're trying to get answers from, what's his name? Eldridge?
I mean, I guess huge spoiler alerts if you're not here yet. I don't want to
We're reviewing the episode, so
right,
everything's a spoiler.
I don't want to give too many spoilers though. What if this gets people into the show?
We're reviewing the episode. We're spoiling the whole episode.
No, we're not gonna. I'm gonna try to put as little spoilers as possible. Just cause I hope everyone that's watching this is a fan already. But if this makes someone want to watch the show, I don't want to ruin the last episode of the last season that just came out. You know.
Okay.
This is a very niche show. I don't feel like I feel like it's still very underrated and should be way more popular. So I want to try to get people into it as well. I'm not sure if, long story short, because I'm not sure if you gave a full explanation. These people are stuck in a town. They come from all over the place. They basically drive and then they hit a snag in the road. And when they try to turn around, they get stuck in this town. The snag people have been from, Florida, Michigan, all over the country.
What they all see is a tree in the road and then crows, doing something crazy, and then they're stuck in this loop.
Right, yeah. So, and then it's not as easy to leave town. Once you're in the town and you keep driving, you just do a loop, kind of a space loop. You go from one end of the street and then you teleport back to the other. Super weird, but anyway.
You don't really teleport. It's kind of like.
I mean, you do.
You don't really.
It's not like you drive down the road and then before you know it, you're at the beginning of the road again.
Okay, but I wouldn't call it teleporting.
I feel like that's what exactly they.
And then at night, monsters come out.
Right, and that's all we're gonna pretty much say for the synopsis. If that intrigued you, stop watching this video here and then go watch the show.
Rest of this is gonna be spoilers.
Right. Again, maybe not too many, but we're gonna try our best.
Okay, so in this scene.
Right, they're trying to get information from some dude named Elgin.
Elgin, yes.
Yes, some dude named Elgin.
Who's been talking to a ghost.
There's a lot of weird entities in this town.
Nothing makes sense.
Yeah, every time you get an answer, it leads to 10 more questions. There's monsters, there's quote-unquote spirits. Voices in your head. It really just messes with you and everyone just physically and mentally.
Right. So there's this lady who's been
there's this
Elgin.
thing that's been messing with Elgin, which led him to kidnap
Fatima,
another character in the show. Crazy thing about Fatima is she felt like she was pregnant, even though outside of the town they told her she was infertile. So another crazy thing there,
which also the show's fucked, right? But I felt like that itself was super violating as a woman for what happens later on in the episode. Obviously, it's not a baby. When they did the ultrasound, there was nothing there, but she still felt like she was pregnant. And then at the end of the episode, we'll get to it.
Right.
But I felt like her getting pregnant, not out of her husband, out of the place itself, was super violating as a woman. It's super fucked.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if you put it that, I never even thought of it that way, but.
All right, so let's skip forward a little bit. This is him kind of hinting at the end of the episode what happens. Like, energy never leaves. It just keeps going.
Right.
You said it was one of those
Looking, I mean, we were watching the episode, you see a lot of the foreshadowing, but.
Yeah.
I just wanted
He's a great actor, by the way.
Victor?
Victor? Whoever plays Victor does a great job.
all this.
So at this point, the three people who went through that whole scare with the music box, that whole entity, whatever that was, they're having post-traumatic stress symptoms. So, but then Julie, last episode, did some sort of thing where she walked into the ruins and she almost like walked through time and walked through scenes of the show.
They explain it in the show. She's a story walker, which means she could travel back to chapters of her story, basically. She can't time travel and change the story. She could just go back and view what was happening.
That we know so far.
That we know so far. Even though...
Because it's her little brother explaining it.
Right, but even though they say that, right? Like, she can't change anything because that was what she wanted to do. You could put the scene up.
You just
The
want
last, yeah. Every time we talk about something, let's put the scene up. So go to the end. We could keep going back and forth with scenes. The end, like the end. That's the other guy.
Yes,
That's-
yes, yes. Hang on.
Okay, so just to explain what I'm talking about while this is happening, Julie goes into the ruins, right? And she's like a story walker, and her little brother's explaining it doesn't work like that. You can't change anything. You can't save people and things like that. But it seems like here, she tries to do that and is successful. Like, she's going, because right now in the
She
present,
steps into the scene.
right now in present time, Julie has long hair, right? So this, and she looks like in a completely different outfit, right? So pause it. So as you can see, she has long hair now, right?
Short hair now.
Oh, short hair, yes, correct. So one can only assume this is Julie from the future, story walking back to a moment in time, right? Keep playing it. Right? But now she's interacting with people in the past.
I think this is when it happened.
Kind of changing in that scene right there where she's like, I think this is where it's happened. I think this is where it happens, right?
Right.
Which means she wasn't there when it happened. She just thinks this is where
Right.
whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen.
Right. Because when she first did this, where she walked into the ruins and she was seeing, you know what? Remember when she went into the ruins and Boyd was at the bottom of the tunnel?
Yeah.
And the guy on the wall said, throw the rope down?
Right, that was her.
So that means she can do things in the moment.
Yes. Correct. But this is where time travel things get a little weird because from Boyd's point of view, like, she didn't change anything, if that makes sense.
It already happened.
It already happened. So she didn't change the story at all. Like, if she didn't throw the rope and then Boyd got stuck there, that would be changing the past. But for this scene right here, right, it seems like she went back. She wasn't there before. She said, this is where I think it happens. She goes back. She interacts with her dad. And this is future Julie. So theoretically, she can go back and change things.
Right.
Right,
Because
so-
she did.
Right.
Essentially, she did.
Essentially, she did. Unless this is how it always played out. Which is then, again, time travel gets a little weird. And yes, major spoiler, time travel becomes a thing in this show. So yeah, spoiler alert.
I don't think time travel becomes a thing in
It
this
does
show.
become a thing in this show because she's time traveling.
Right, but we don't know that. So for you to say time travel becomes a thing in this show makes the people believe that there's time travel happening. But we're just assuming that she becomes some sort of time traveler. But I don't think that's the case. I think she keeps testing out, like, going to the ruins and maybe sees, like, hey, can I actually change something? Like, I'm not going to accept what my brother said where the story just happens. I want to try to stop it.
Is that not time traveling back in the past to try to stop something?
Right, but it hasn't happened yet, so you can't say she's
But
a
she
time
does it.
traveler.
She's
because
but
that
she's-
just makes the show like super.
But
sci-fi.
the show is super sci-fi and supernatural, and she's literally time traveling now. Like,
Okay.
this isn't time travel.
Okay, but let's keep playing the scene.
I think people get the point. You don't want to. I don't want to spoil what happens.
Was a hell of a song.
No, because this goes to what our bet is.
Right. So without explaining what happens after this, you know what I'm saying? Because it's a big scene. Our bet, right, is that this scene hasn't happened yet. That they want you to think this is Julie from the future visiting the past, right? But my bet is that this isn't Julie coming back from the past or the future. This is just a scene that hasn't happened yet. And they want you to think that it did happen now, if that makes sense.
And my what I think is that the dad, moments after talking to his wife,
Right.
who gave him crazy news, we will get to that scene, is taking a breather, walking to where their families first crashed there, and he's reminiscing. And then his daughter comes in on that scene and is trying to warn him of what's about to happen. Because the guy who just said that was a hell of a song, this is following the scene where they were playing the violins and they played the song and then everything came together for them. So that's why I think it's just moments after the scene, as Oscar thinks this is a point in the future where they're trying to show us that this eventually happens.
Right. You summed it up pretty well. Our bet is, again, to shorten it even more, the bet is Desiree thinks this is happening right after the scene, like in the present. I feel like this is happening at some point in the future of the show. And that, you know, once season 4 happens,
he's still alive and kicking. They saw the episode.
No.
So let's go back to actually where the music is happening.
The baby scene we could touch on really quickly. Basically, those monsters they used to be humans, right?
That
this is all the revelation and the spoilers that are in this last episode. They used to be human, and they sacrificed their children to become immortal, but in turn, becoming immortal meant becoming one of these monsters.
Right. Just like a vampire, sort of.
Kind of. However, in season 2, I believe, they happen to kill one of these monsters that are basically invulnerable to any attacks and stuff, like bullets, things like that. So this scene shows us that this child that was born...
we're getting to it.
Right, this child that was born... Yeah, but they won't. The child that was born was the monster they killed, so he got reincarnated. And that is another theme that comes into this show, which is reincarnation.
Take care of your wife.
We haven't got to that yet.
Right behind you.
They sacrificed their children because it promised them that they would live forever.
What's it? It was that guy in the yellow suit that walked out.
Or the place.
And then this thing grows rapidly, and then it becomes that monster that they killed in season 2.
Right.
They're watching it emerge. We don't know what this is. I don't think that's it. And Boyd is watching this whole thing, so he has inside information now. But so does Fatima. So then if we go to...
I kept making them. Somewhere deep down, I remember.
I don't know what the fuck you're saying. I don't understand.
It's because we've been here before. Me and Jade. The reason I felt what Miranda felt is because I was Miranda. And Jade was Christopher. We've come back over and over again because we failed the first time. Yes. Jade and I were here at the beginning. We tried to save those children, set them free. Because one of them was ours. She was our daughter. Oh, it's true. It's true. You feel it.
So that was the big reveal for season 3. There was a few big reveals, but that was the biggest in my opinion, where Jade and Tabitha are reincarnations, and one of the children that were sacrificed was their daughter. And that was actually one of my theories back in season 2, where I was like, with the kids, if they were sacrificed, this place was made out of magic. And it reminded me of the Vampire Diaries. Well, if you ever watch the Vampire Diaries, there's a when supernatural things die, they go to a place called the other side. But the other side was created by a person who was sacrificed, and like his psychic powers in his death created the other side, which was like a purgatory for supernatural dead people. So in the first season, when I saw that the kids were sacrificed, I was like, well, maybe this place was created by the sacrifice of the children. But I didn't know how far it went. Like the people who come out at night are actually the parents of these children that were sacrificed.
Right.
And then Tabitha and Jade are reincarnations, which I thought was a pretty cool twist, because you don't usually see the theme of reincarnations. It reminded me, because we watch a lot of anime, sometimes reincarnation is a theme because that's kind of part of their culture of believing in reincarnation in Buddhism. So I thought it was pretty cool that they incorporated that into the show, and it makes it make sense, where everyone, it's not making sense, it makes sense.
Right.
But they're the only people that die and reincarnate as other people. They live different lives, but the things inside of the town, if they die, you see how they came back. They also come back the same as monsters. Jade and Tabitha clearly aren't monsters.
Right.
So they have a mission to...
Right, exactly.
So for the upcoming seasons, we're looking forward to more answers, and to see how they can know that they're reincarnations, but they have failed up until this point to break free of whatever this place is. Whoever that person in the last scene was, who I believe is the puppet master of this whole
like
thing.
the ringleader, exactly, yeah.
The thing that Fatima was talking about, that they said if they sacrifice their kids, they live forever.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's that. So if that's a person or an entity, we are probably going to find out in season 4.
Yeah, and now thinking about it as well, it seems like Julie being able to go back in time is messing with his plans. That he's actually there trying to interfere with her. So I feel like Julie becomes a very key point in the next season and end to this whole place where now the ringleader or the master has to come down and intervene himself instead of just having his puppets do the work for him. So I guess I think Julie's going to play a huge part in foiling his plans.
Yeah. In my opinion, it's kind of hard because it seems like whoever runs that place watches everything.
Yeah, they know exactly. They know when people leave a room. They know when to call. They know who's calling. Like when they try to make an antenna to reach the outside world. He knew that. He's like, what is your wife doing in the basement?
Yeah, like...
They know everything. So I don't know if there's cameras or if there's something mystical going on, but it's definitely kind of creepy to know you're being watched 24/7. Yeah.
How can you advance in your plans if someone's always watching you or hearing over you? Like,
and knows what you're doing.
Obviously, he knows they're trying to foil his plan, trying to destroy the place, but...
Right.
How can they advance knowing that someone is constantly watching over them? Kind of have like 3 steps ahead of them.
And it's kind of creepy, like as you go through the show, especially in the previous season, you're like, oh, they're finding answers, and Victor and people go into the tunnels and, you know, they try to solve mysteries, and you're like, oh, that's great. But then they hit you with the twist where they knew what they were doing the whole time. So it seems kind of like they let them get that far, or they want them to figure out these types of things. It's like they're being played with the whole time.
Yeah, you don't know when they're getting fucked with or when they're getting a step forward.
I just feel like they're always getting messed with, because Victor went into the tunnels and they're like, hey Victor, you know, next time you come in here,
We're not gonna let you
yeah,
out.
and it's one of those monsters that usually kill people. So it's like
They
what's
let 'em
real?
in. Yeah, they let
what's
'em in.
I feel like they're like, it's if you ever watched The Dark Knight Rises or something, where the worst part about that prison where Bane was from was the hope that you could get out. So maybe it's the hope that they're giving these people these hopes of, oh yeah, I'll let you figure this out, just to crush them even more.
And that's what makes it fun for them.
It's a really messed up psychological show, but we love it, so we can't wait for the next season.
It keeps you wanting more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, you know, if you're a mystery, you want to solve the mystery. So it's a really good show that we recommend.
Again, if you haven't seen the show, even though you watched this whole video and you got spoiled, it's still a great show. Even after everything we told you, maybe now that you know some answers and you go watch the show, you'll see some things.
See clues.
Yeah, see foreshadows, or just things make more sense than they did to us the first time around. We might have to rewatch the show now that we know what we know. So definitely go check it out no matter what. It's on Prime Video. You have to subscribe to MGM, but I believe MGM is only like $2 for the first 2 months. So you could definitely binge it then and then cancel. And that, yeah, definitely just 100%. 10 out of 10 go recommend.
Because the season 4 is probably not going to come out for a year or two.
Unfortunately,
hopefully, just a year. But you know, you don't want to rush it, because when people rush it, then the writing gets sloppy. So
yeah,
it's a quality show. We wanted to keep it a quality show.
Absolutely. And I know we're mostly an anime channel, but we love this show, and I feel like just like with anime, especially before, it has such a niche audience where we wanted to just talk to our fans about this show as well, since it's also very niche, and maybe get some more people involved in it. So yeah, that's it.
So we'll see you next time.